Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? Man, it's a it's a good day. It's been a good day. I've been busy. Welcome to another episode of the Stoked podcast. I am Javon Stokes, CEO, founder of Visually Stoked Media, creator of Heat, creator of Strong, and very tired man who just did like 3 cons in 4 weeks. I'm exhausted, y'all. Like seriously. My co-host had some technical difficulties, but he gonna be back at some point. We're gonna have him in. We got a good show today. We got a great guest, a longtime friend of mine. We talking like more than 25 years of friendship, and I appreciate this man. Before we get there, obviously, welcome. Thank you all for showing up on this Thursday. Wait, did I see him? All right, let's try. You good now?
Testing.
All right. This man is Jamari Stokes, and this is the Stoke podcast. So before we bring in our guest, that's really weird. Before we bring in our guest, real quick, I talked about this on Facebook, but I honestly can't say. Well, before I get into that, just understand, obviously, like always, you can go in the chat, you can talk to us, we talk back to you. It's supposed to be fun. But yeah, I did three Comic-Cons in 4 weeks. I did Springfield Comic-Con, I did Terrificon in Mohegan Sun, and I did Fan Expo Boston. And I sold like 325 plus books. And I did over 50 prints. I even sold some of my mom's books. It was an amazing time. To everybody who is now a fan of Heat and a fan of Strong, who purchased the book, I appreciate it. Even the people who stood there and listened to my whole spiel and took the time out their day to talk to me, I appreciate you. Before we bring in our guests, I will say I want to share one thing. Doing this comic book thing. Oh man, we lost him. We'll get him back in. But there he is. Before I get back into it, I doing this comic book thing can be hard because you could be in a silo and you're doing all your work, and then like you put it out there and you never know if somebody enjoys it. But somebody legitimately came up to me and said, "You're amazing," and I was like, that rarely happens. And so like that, to the person who did it, I'm sorry I forgot your name. I truly do. It was a lot going on, but I appreciate you. And if anybody else feels the same way, I appreciate you. Y'all give me energy and reason to continue doing this. So thank you. So let's bring in our guest. Excuse me. He's been sitting back there long enough. Tonight's special guest has seemingly done it all: singing, songwriting, performing, photography, entrepreneurship. He's a one-stop shop of entertainment. We've been friends since middle school, and I am incredibly proud of the man, husband, and father that he's become. It's incredibly difficult to go anywhere in the Northeast where he is not known. Let's give a Stoked podcast round of applause for the one and only Mike-Charles Nahounou.
Yo, man, what the heck of an intro, man.
I told you, I'll bring you in.
What the heck, man? What's going on, my bro? What's going on?
I'm good, man.
What's going on, sir?
Welcome.
Yeah. Man, appreciate it.
So first, let me say I'm glad to have you on, and please give greetings to your lovely wife, who I don't think I've ever met. That's crazy. Y'all been married forever.
Yeah, 10 years this year.
Y'all been married. I thought we were around. We were near, but y'all got 3 years on us.
But we kind of try to stay off Facebook. It's been kind of crazy with everything going on, and I got stories for you, man. It depends on where you want to start.
We'll get there. But we got to make something happen, because there's no reason that you haven't met my wife and I haven't met your wife. So we got to make that happen.
You and your wife and your wife when I broke, bruised through. I want to stop. Yeah, I didn't want to stop
You
like
drove
that, but
by
I
yelling
just
at
knew.
us. I was like, who's
I was
this
like,
crazy
yo,
person yelling at me, man?
that's me.
And you like
Yeah.
have beards, so I had to take a look. I had to take a second to figure
Oh
out who
yeah,
you
that's
were
right.
because
Yeah, yeah. Trying to,
you like have beard. But
get my,
anyway,
I'm trying to get
welcome,
my A-Rap
welcome.
money.
Hey man, I tried. I really tried
Yeah.
that during the quarantine, but beard life, that type of beard life, ain't for me, man.
Yeah, man, I got it,
I
man.
can't get it full like you. You got it full like up here.
Yeah, I kind
It
of.
don't
I trim
happen
it
like
too.
that.
I
That's
trim
what
it
I'm
too because
saying.
I'm already. So I don't want to look too crazy. You know what I mean? So
See, you see this right
I try to
here?
keep it neat.
That's about as
Yeah.
far as it go. I get the 5 o'clock shadow right here, but it don't grow no
Yeah.
more. But it will grow this
Got
way.
shadow.
It'll
Yeah,
grow
man.
this way.
That's the problem
Yeah.
I
I can
have.
get big beard.
It'll be
Yeah,
all day out here.
yeah,
Man,
I'll
yeah.
get like it'll get fuzzy, but it won't fill in.
It won't fill in.
Nice,
All this
nice.
won't fill in.
But if you get it growing down here, you could get this. You in the same philosophy. You just have it go straight down.
Nah.
Right?
I ain't feeling that. Nah.
You ain't messing
If I can't have
with it.
the big beard, I gotta have the decent cut.
Confucius say, "Not my style."
Not my style. Perfect. All right,
I
man.
got
But welcome. So you
Definitely,
know how we do this. We get in. We talk about your career. We talk about the things that you've done, and you've been doing this for a minute, man. Like you've been hustling in and around the Northeast and everywhere else, and I watch from afar. And I'm always been proud of you, man. I always tell people that I know that dude. I know Mike. But see, when you started going by Michael Charles, I remember the first time I heard that, and I was like, somebody told me who that was Michael
like,
Charles,
who that?
and I was like, oh, they showed me a picture. I was like, you mean Michael Nahounou?
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know who that is. But you going by everything now. I love it, man. I love you kind of incorporating it all in.
Now. Full circle.
That's
Michael
good.
Charles is for more from church because I was born and raised in the church, so they know me by my full name, Michael Charles, not even Mike Charles. Michael. If somebody in probably be like Michael Charles, I'm like. If somebody be like Mike Charles, I'm like, oh, they from music. And if somebody say Mike Nahounou, I'll probably keep walking.
Okay. Because that's how I remember. That's how I know you. Like that's the Mike I know. Yeah. But well, let's talk about.
That's cool.
Yeah. Let's talk about singing.
Yeah.
That's your government. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your singing, man. Tell me when you yourself realized that you could sing.
Well, before I do that, let me give her. Let me put on my M real quick before I start talking about singing. Put my MJ on. You know what I mean? So I can feel good about myself. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Let me take a sip of some cranberry juice.
Yeah, cranberry juice. Is that cranberry juice?
That's no quote.
Oh, we lost him. Oh, he was about to lie. God knew you was about to lie. Don't lie. Don't go lie.
I told you I'm still from Hartford, so I'd have told you I'm pretty honest. That's cranberry juice. Good.
Okay.
But
that's okay. That's
all right.
Singing, we good with
according to my mom. Shout out to my mama. I've been singing since 6 months. She told me when she used to sing to me because my mom don't sing. She sang with that G. So as an loving mother, she would sing to me when I was a baby. And she said at 6 months I used to sing back to her like I was singing back to her. I've been singing since 6 months. Yeah.
But when did you realize that you could sing?
Yeah, so when I realized it was maybe about between 5 or 7 years old. Because again, I'm church, so I sang Jesus Love Me. I was so short I couldn't really sing at the pulpit. They had to put me on like the second or third stair, give me that little long corded microphone, and I knew I could sing based on the reaction, but I didn't really know I was nice until high school. Like, you know what I mean? Because people at church, they tell you, it's just like, oh, they know me. It's more like, oh, good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, baby.
It wasn't until I got exposed to secular music, right? And that's high school. That's R&B, right? Because I went from being in church to gangster rap music. So trajectory a little different. I went from singing in the church to gangster rap, thanks to the Chronic, literally Chronic, right? The Chronic.
Okay.
I heard about, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Daz Effect, you know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang. So I went through a rap period first, and then when I realized
I did not know that.
Yeah, this is something I had to put together to understand who I am, right?
Right.
Then it wasn't until high school that I started learning R&B, and so I'm like, again, I don't really count church because I'm singing church or whatever. Until I was listening to like Drew Hill and Next, Joe, and I'm like, and back then you could tape record or whatever. So I'm like, yo, I'm singing the same thing and with the runs and everything, and I'm like, yo, I think I'm nice. You know what I mean? When I'm hearing myself back. So that's when I kind of confident to 9th grade, whatever.
Okay.
And because I went from Hartford High, because I went to Hartford High, of course. I was in the end of my junior year. Yes, sir. I got inside suspension that year again, and they changed the rules where you can't go to every single lunch wave. So I was like, I had like 2 weeks of inside suspension, with hanging with them boys. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, I had just moved to Bloomfield. So I was like looking at Bloomfield, like, man, I ain't them Bloomfield folk or whatever. I'm not into them.
Right.
Windsor Bloomfield cats. I'm not. I'm
right.
When they put me in that inside with that new rule where you had to stay in that one room, it felt like jail. So I was like, man, I'm out of here. I'm gone. And in my high school year, I kept that really on the low. Like only a few people knew that I had a talent.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
which is crazy because that's around the time where I started like singing.
Yeah, see, like I didn't even know you. I just knew you for the comics and the drawings. Like you was.
Now you don't remember, man. I did that doggone talent show. I think it was senior year.
Yeah.
So you weren't doing the little song battles he was trying to do.
No, I never knew that Mike-Charles could sing until after high school. And the crazy part is I was looking for people to do like a group with.
Yeah, I wasn't
it was
really
me and Milton.
Like, I was just more trying to just because I'm really, to be honest, like I'm shy. Like either I'm shy or I'm like really critical of myself. You know what I mean? So I'm not really trying to put myself out there, especially with a bunch of people that I'm around. They will rank me to death if I'm not nice.
You're right. You're right about that.
I just kept it to myself until like I started, I said, I'm going to do this talent show. That was my senior year at the time. Talked to my girlfriend at the time. I gave her the whole rose thing.
I remember this.
I had one. Yeah. And then after that, the next year, I graduated 99. Show my age. No problem. You see the grades.
Hey, man. Same class, bro. It's all right.
Yes, exactly, right? So, and then the year 2000, I was like, okay, if I won that talent show, then let me test this Jagged Edge thing out to really see, because I guess I was right. You know what I mean? So Star Wars 2000, I went.
Yep.
I won that. So I'm like,
shout out to Jagged Edge.
Shout out to Jagged Edge. Shout out to Miss Casey. She loved me. You know what I mean? And I love her too. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I think I'm gonna definitely do this thing. And so since 2000, I was like, yo, I'm on the chase. This is my destiny. This is my purpose, or at least a part of it, a heavy part of it. Right.
You know, that's how I found out that you could sing, because you did the Star Watch thing. Because that Linda Casey, that's my godmother.
That's right.
Yeah. So when they told, because I remember I was in Georgia.
Yes, you were.
And I was in college, and like my mom was telling me, because my mom was a part of the planning for all the Star Watch stuff, and she was like, mom. Yeah. Thank you, man. And she was like, yeah, you know Michael Nahounou, he's singing. I was like, Michael could sing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was literally standing there like, no, he can't. But I mean, when I was like, yo, he won, I was like, okay. And then I think I saw the video of it.
Re-rolling probably. That was 2005. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or that was our first.
No, I saw the Star Watch video.
Oh, okay. Oh
yeah. I saw the Star Watch
yeah.
video, and because I told you I was in Georgia, so
yeah, that's right.
I saw everything, and I was just like, okay, all right. He ain't, he ain't tell me like, but it's all right. I ain't upset.
Yeah, I ain't tell nobody. Don't feel no way, brother. I ain't even tell myself. So yeah.
But I was proud of you, man. I was proud of you back then. I'm proud of you now, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. It's been a long road since 2000. No. Talk about 22 years. We're going into 23 years.
Oof.
Yeah. Oof. So
it's funny because I think everybody who can sing even a little bit has like that moment where like in their mind they're like, I could do this professionally. And then they have that moment where they either realize that they can, or they're like, this ain't it for me.
Yo, that's a real fact, bro. And what you doing, I'm sure you probably hit that moment now. So congratulations with that. Selling a lot of those units. That's a lot of units.
Man, I appreciate you.
You know what I mean? But you're right about that.
I knew I wasn't doing music. I knew music wasn't for me. I did it was like an open mic, and I was in Georgia, and Jamari, it was with your brother, and your brother did the music. He did the background music. You remember we practiced that at your house, and I was up there, and he froze, so he didn't do no music.
Ugh.
I was just up there in front of the mic, and I just kept looking back at him. Yeah, so I sang a little bit, and I came out it okay, but I don't know. Like I think at that moment I was like, "This ain't for me. Let me go back and draw.
Man.
Let me go back and pick up my pencil." Nah, that was it for me. I retired from singing. I sing with my choir every now and again, but I don't even do that now, man. I'm retired.
Nothing wrong with singing the gospel. Man, shout out to my man Dwight Freeney, man. He told me some stuff I'll never forget, man. Before I was still in Bloomfield, so I didn't even go to like no, this is actually after that. He was already like, I think he had already
he was already
the highest
in the
paid
league,
NFL defensive player at the time. But he came through, he saw me, and he told me, he was like, let me use my Michael Jackson glove fist. He was like, yo, you could go either two directions. You get to a point where he put his thumb like this, you either go up or down. You know what I'm saying? So everybody get to that point, like you said.
Everybody.
And it depends on and everything in life, like just name it. And it really depends on your mindset, your knowledge of self, and your support system. You know what I mean? If you got a good support system, they'll be like, they're gonna tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna put accountability. We're like, this is your path. You know what I mean? I ain't know you saying, but I know for a fact, with the comics, I'm like, yo, of course. Like I seen this dude draw. He was drawing. He was making me draw on them this little comic on them philosophy books. I used to write them stick.
When we had the paper bag on it.
Yeah, bro. So I know, to me, you was gonna do something in that vein. You know what I mean?
But I had that moment too. Like I've told this story I don't know if I've ever told it on this podcast, but I might have told it on the other one. I had done this comic book called I'm not gonna say that. I did say it on here. I did this comic book and it was terrible. But at the time I thought I was it. And I went to a Comic-Con and I just started passing out copies to people in the industry. And man, they wasn't giving me a second look. And then this editor came through. I gave it to him, and he was just walking. And I knew who he was. I knew what he looked like. I gave it to him. He looked through it. He critiqued it real quick, and he handed it back to me. He didn't even keep it. And I was like, okay, am I gonna do this or am I gonna do this? And then I took a break, and that's when I went back to school. And then when I got back out, I was like, all right, I'm gonna just take I had that same, the same moment. Like, you gonna do it or you not gonna do it? and you know, like that was it for me. And I'm thankful, thank God that I took the leap, you know, that I actually went and did it, because, you know, I could literally have given up and been like, and got a corporate job and you know, not been, you know, here.
Made men, boys to men. And you know what I mean? Every path is not for everybody, you know what I mean? So the corporate life, you know what I'm saying, that's for some people or most people. The entrepreneur's life is for, you know, the 80-20 rule, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it's hard though. It's hard. You got to balance everything. Life,
right?
You know, circumstances, situations, where when you go to the 9-to-5 life or the corporate life, your boss or your supervisor handle that. You go home, and, you know what I mean?
Do whatever you want to do.
Everything. You got to manage and balance everything.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, but it's worth it.
So I got a question. Before I get my question, I'm gonna give Jamari an opportunity. Go ahead, man.
Yes, sir.
So, where did you kind of see yourself, or where did you see yourself going once you realized that you wanted to do music? Did you kind of have to research it, or did you just know that I want to sing?
Yeah, it's kind of just a gut instinct plus research. Back then we have Google, and I wasn't really into reading books then yet. You know what I mean? I didn't really get into reading books until maybe 2003, 2004, when we started PB Dollar Entertainment. Me and Keandre, shout out to Keandre Gillespie. So that's when we started reading books for real, other than, you know, making sure we just passed class. You know what I mean? So it was just more of an intuition and feedback, right? That's why when you see somebody, it's good to give encouragement. I love to give encouragement, be like, you know what, yo, you doing your thing. Even if I might not necessarily feel somebody is not necessarily for me, I still find something good to say about them. Like, yo, you know what, I like your confidence, you know what I mean? Or you can always give a good word. So I just was blessed with people who tell me they truly feel, but I also been blessed to be talented in my talent, right? So it wasn't really, it's just that sometimes people they have the talent and they have the support system, but they don't have the faith. So I kind of knew, like, this is what I want to do, and I took that leap of faith, and I ain't never stopped since.
That's real, man. That faith is big, because excuse me, you got to have like faith in yourself. Like, definitely. I always say, I'm my biggest cheerleader. Like, other than my mother was my biggest cheerleader. But for now, like, I'm my biggest cheerleader. Like, I have to be, you know, and I know you gotta be, because you know, doing music, you just, you know, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know if what you're doing is good until you hear somebody else, right? Like, I'm assuming. Validation. Right. Like, you might think it's hot, but then you play it for somebody else and they're like, this ain't it, bro. And in music, people tell you for real. Mm-hmm. Like, they'll tell you, you know, you can see it on their face.
Yep.
I did a demo tape years ago, and I remember playing it for my friends, and I love my friends. We were sitting in my boy's car. I'll never forget it. I played that joint for them, and they was like, "Yeah, this is okay, it's good." And I like, in my mind, I was like, "This is terrible." Like, man. I know this is not good. All right, I don't even know what that thing is. It's lost to the winds of time. Hopefully, it stays that way.
We need to unearth it and play it right here.
I've been literally, that's a secret fear of mine, that somebody unearths this thing and they play it, and then I gotta hear it. But
man, it's the market and audience for anything nowadays with this social media, TikTok world, man. You just never know, man.
Hey, I never thought people would come every Thursday to hear me and Jamari talk. But here
That's
we
what's
are.
up, man. Shout out to the big people that come every Thursday to hear y'all.
Hey,
speak,
man, I appreciate y'all.
Hey.
Trust me on this one. I appreciate everybody who watches it after the fact on YouTube, all of that. We average like 30 plus views on YouTube. So, you know, we
nice,
growing.
man. That's good, man. It's people. Imagine filling 30 to 300 people in a room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's
So
all about perspective.
Let's talk about how you got into the music industry. Like we talked about how you realized when you could sing. We talked about, you know, you started from the church, and you know, you in your research that you did to get started. Were you trying to do a demo tape and then get in, or you like, I'm just going to do this on me on my own, and if somebody come for me, somebody come for me?
Oh yeah, I went the traditional route. You know what I mean? I was like, you know, I'm gonna do a record deal, that type of thing. I had shout out to my man Chase Beats. Like Chase Beats was my first manager. You know, and he was, you know, he kind of gave me my business, what I know about business, and like from him. Shout out to also June Archer. June Archer. I went to an
Shout out to
event.
June.
Yeah, shout out to
I'm trying
June
to get
Archer.
June on this show.
Yeah, man, that's my man, bro. He like big bro. So, you know, I went to one of his events and Chase introduced me to Notch from Born Americans, right? They childhood friends. And then we went to a June Archer event in New York. He was doing hot chocolate soul. He still does hot chocolate
Oh yeah,
soul.
do they still do hot chocolate soul?
I believe he still does. Like he might not do it as much, but I believe he does it every often or whatever. But
I think I went to one of them and it was nice.
Yeah,
it was
but
nice.
he was doing it in New York. June is global, so he was doing it in New York. And then when I went out there, you know, my man Notch introduced me to my second manager, Moet. And this was all like after I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing for real. After the you know what I'm saying, the Star Watch or whatever.
Right.
And by the way, Star Watch, they was offering me a record deal, but it was, you know, I just had a knack for business, and I just was like, I don't know if I want an artist signed to another artist. I don't know. I just had a feeling that you know, I don't know. It was just an intuition thing. So I never really signed with them, but you know, the twins is still cool. Shout out to Brandon, but Brian was really I was really, both of them was cool. You know, I didn't even know that you was related to them until Star Wars. I was like, that's crazy, but
they're my kinfolk, man.
Yeah, that's those kinfolk for us too, because they the ones who actually make me, just a little off topic, but they the ones who made me feel comfortable with myself. Because I'm not that type of singer. Remember, I went from church to gangster rap.
Right. That's quite the slingshot.
I wasn't really into the typical R&B style. So when I seen them with the baggy jeans and all that, I was like, yeah, them the ones, I relate to them. You know what I mean? So anyway, like, so Hot Chocolate Soul was in New York. I had performed out there, and I met a manager out there. Shout out to Moet from Flushing's Queens. He was from Queens. And so, like, this dude just so happened to actually, you know how you meet people and they say they know this person, they know that person, but really they don't know nobody?
Yeah.
This dude actually knew everybody in the industry, like, for real. So I was like, God was literally guiding me. Like, I'm like, oh, this is easy. You know what I'm saying? I went in there. I done met the head of at the time that was Epic Records, Dave McPherson. Shout out to Dave McPherson. Okay. You know what I mean? I done met Wyclef, Limp Bizkit. You know what I mean? All in the same vein, like within the same period. This dude actually knew these people. I done sold a song to Rough Ends, whatever it's called, Shake It. You look it up. I still get royalty checks off of it. So I'm like, this is me going in the industry. I'm like, yo, I told you, you know what I mean? I'm about to take over. But then business, you know, I didn't really know nothing about business yet. I just knew about talent, and talent brings you places. It brings you through the door, and you can get there. But if you want to stay there, you got to know some business in order to, and then you got to have leverage so that way when you can negotiate. Because if you just talent and you go into the door, they're gonna be like, okay, you talented. There's a trillion of you. What are you gonna do?
And they'll take advantage of you too.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So the whole typical record. So I did demos and stuff like that. I had a couple demos. As a matter of fact, the song I sold was a part of my demo. they heard it and they was like, we like that for this act. I'm like, no, that's for me. I wrote that for myself. Right. So they like, so I had to learn the business. So I sold that song. Thank God I did actually. You know what I mean? With good management guiding me to let you know, like, if I wrote one, I can write a bunch. Right.
You can do it again.
So I got in the industry that way. Like, I got in the industry through selling songs. Right. And so through that, you know, I came back. I went through some bumps, you know what I mean? Just to fast forward and everything to keep it less, to make a long story shorter, right? I just decided, you know what? I want to do what I see Nelly did. I want to do what I see Master P did and Cash Money, right? And have my own imprint to make our own. We bring in the whole team. So that's when I bumped heads with like Keandre. Shout out to Courtenay, right? He the new head coach of Hartford High, by the way, football. Shout out to TAs, you know what I mean? Shout out to Joan Royale.
We had Trevor Ford on here earlier. We had
PB Dollar Entertainment, right?
Yeah.
So at the time we started, Hot 93.7 was just here, right? And so when Hot 93.7 came, they gave the whole state a microphone, right? But it wasn't as easy as going in and be like, hey, let me use your microphone because we sing or we rap.
Right.
That's when I learned about politics. I like to call it politics. You know what I mean? So every song or radio, every play you heard, it wasn't like because of relationships, it's because we earned everything, right?
Right.
There was no BET here, there was none of that stuff here. So nobody really know that there's so much talent in Connecticut. So that's why when I hear all of the artists out now doing their thing, they may or may not have heard of us, but the thing is, a lot of young people did hear of us, but we actually helped pave the way for them to be able to just easily do what they do, whether or not they give credit, whatever. We know the truth. We got our own story. So Connecticut is still, to me, untapped. You know what I mean? It's like an untapped market. 50 Cent wrote a book about how Hartford is a key, you know what I'm saying, market to help pop off. Yeah, a lot of more artists will say that now, that they basically popped off in Connecticut first before they popped off everywhere else. But you know, that's another podcast.
No, I feel you, man. I know from firsthand experience, like, you know, people don't like Connecticut. The perception of Connecticut in other markets is like white. Like, you know, I know when I came to Georgia. Yeah, when I came to Georgia and I told people I'm from Hartford, Connecticut, they had no idea what I was talking about. Well, if I told people I'm from Hartford, they don't know what I'm talking about. But if I say I'm from Connecticut, they think like, oh, you're rich.
You're rich.
You know, yeah, like no real talk. They'd be like, oh, you know, Greenwich, like you said, Stafford, right? Stanford, excuse me.
Right.
So like, you know, it's a perception that Connecticut has. And I think a lot of people in Hartford, sometimes they overcompensate for it. You know what I mean? They want to try and be harder than because you know, you from Hartford, Connecticut. But as far as talent, I mean, I've seen talent all throughout Hartford. Like, you know, singers, rappers. You know, shout out to my boy Hiram. Went on 106 in Park.
Yeah, that's my man.
Yeah, man, Hartford High, bro.
Yeah, that's my man.
You know, shout out to him. Went on 106 in Park. Won what's that rap battle? What was it called?
Freestyle Friday.
Freestyle Friday. Yeah. So I mean, we got talent. We got, and there's a ton of like artists.
He knocked somebody out too.
He knocked you out.
He knocked somebody out too.
No, he's a boxer. He's a boxer.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's still funny. It's still funny.
That's my man.
But yeah, man.
No matter what you say, it's still funny.
There's a ton of talent, and on many levels, many artistic levels in Connecticut that's just dying to be looked at. And so, you know, I was happy to see you start getting on. When did you ever reach a point where you felt like I made it in the industry, or are you still working to get there?
Man, I feel like yeah, that's a great question, because that's where people get comfortable. You know what I mean? I would say, I'm not gonna say I never felt like I made it. When we released our first like full album, which is We Deliver, you know what I mean? We felt like we made it at least in our hometown. You know what I'm saying? Because we done had 12 bottles of Chris before. You can't even find Chris except for a Jay-Z video. And we done had jacuzzis with stretch limos with jacuzzis for the release party, packed it out. You know what I'm saying? So, and of course we had a whole bunch of girls, paper girls and regular girls. We felt like we made it. Like, I mean, you might not see us on TV, but if you come to Connecticut, you know who he is. So if any moment that we felt like we quote unquote made it would have been then. But at the same time, we was good. We was at least disciplined enough, and we have accountability around us to know that we ain't make it. We don't have the money like that. We're not rich yet. You know what I mean? So in terms of, so from that point, you know what I mean, to, you know, we shout out to Ryan Leslie. Ryan Leslie, we had actually signed with him. He was right under Bad Boy. He found Cassie. He signed Cassie. So we had a nice run. We went on tour. So that's another moment where we could have felt like we made it. I'm talking about Germany, right? We went to like a 12-city tour in Germany. Girls, and girls. We went to tour in Africa, more girls. Like, girls make you feel like you made it, right? So it's like, those were like the two moments where we felt like, you know what I'm saying, we made it. But we always knew if that bank account don't match what we at least see on TV, right, we got to keep going. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Right
Be nice
now,
if comic books had that same effect of girls. I don't get that. I get guys. That's all. All I get.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you gotta look at the metrics different with the
kids. That's what. That's what I get.
That's what metrics.
I don't get. Hey, listen. They buy. That's okay. It'd be a different world if it was the other way around. I'll leave that to the music industry.
For sure. No, that's real. That's a good question, though.
Then you get the women.
And then moving forward, like, if I would feel like there's any time, I feel like the time is now, because to, you know, segue a little bit into like the technology, you know, right now my focus is blockchain technology, simply because it encompasses everything I do. It solves a lot of problems that we dealt with that I felt like blocked us from getting where we wanted to go because of the whole gateway, gate person, middleman, centralization stuff. It solves problems more than just Bitcoin or Ethereum or cryptocurrency, like what people only know it for. Like, I know the technology. When I went back to school, because once I told myself, okay, this music, what I'm gonna do, I dropped out of college. Like everybody else, I thought I was my man Bill Gates. I was like, oh yeah, I'm good. I don't need college, I don't need nothing. But when it came to the business, I was like, yeah, I need to go back to school. By 2005, when we did our own tour, right? Where Re-Rolling was the first pretty much first video in 2005 we shot for Re-Rolling. And then we went on tour for that. We had a little investment money, and we spread out the marketing dollars through the whole United States of America. That wasn't smart. That wasn't smart. We should have just put that into New England, right? Make sure we New York, which is number 1 market, Boston, number 4 market at the time. Spread that right there and concentrate it. You would have had a better shot. So we didn't really have the business acumen the way we wanted. And after losing some money, investing some money that didn't come right back, because those credits is forever. I was like, yo, I got to do something different. And then in the year 2008, I went back to school. 2008 was the year I met my wife. 2008 was the year my father opened the company, which I run today. God rest his soul. He passed away 2016. In 2008, we all know it was the crash, you know what I mean, the housing crash. But it also was the year of blockchain. That's when blockchain was introduced.
I'm gonna interrupt you because the question was coming. Like, I don't understand blockchain, so talk to me like explain it to me. Yeah. I'm okay. Talk to me.
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
All right. So blockchain blockchain. All right, so if you know about the internet, you don't got to explain what the internet is. But when the internet first came, nobody knew what the internet was, right? Blockchain is like the internet 2.0, right? So it allows you to connect to people, places, and things, or I like to say the internet of nows, without a centralized entity. You don't need AOL dial-up. You don't need Google. You don't need Facebook. You just go to the internet of internets, right?
Okay.
So with that, everything that we normally use, it cuts down the barriers of entry. So I'm trying to talk to you from a way that you might, so that you can understand the concept and the value of blockchain. So blockchain establishes three things: accountability, transparency, and immutability, meaning once you establish it, you can't change it. So that's the reason why when you put a blockchain system with banks get threatened, because you don't need to reconcile with them, or you don't got to tell them, hey, can you debit my account and send, $150,000 and use some big numbers for you to Javon to license that comic book series, and another 50,000 to Jamari to make sure things right. You can just do it. Get the internet.
Oh, you're frozen. Your service is jacking up, man. Hold on. Hold on. Almost.
Should be coming back.
There you go. You're getting there.
You know, you start talking blockchain. The people, how is that?
They mad now. They mad. They
get
let me slow his internet down a little bit.
So with blockchain is like, if you building a tower, if you building anything, it's like the ground that you build on, right?
Okay.
So then onto blockchain, you have cryptocurrency, you have NFTs, you have decentralized autonomous organizations, aka, and everything that's going to come afterwards, right? So when I first heard about blockchain, it's because I have a couple business ideas in marketing, advertising and marketing, and so I was connecting with some people that I know out in Atlanta, and so I heard about a digital currency first, right? I'm not gonna say the name of the digital currency because it doesn't exist probably right now. They call it a ish coin, right? I don't even want to swear or nothing like that, but it's shit coin, right? They call it, blur that out or whatever, right? But I'm the research type. I like to know the value is derived from, right? Because I love to stand on a solid ground, right? So I did my research. It led me to a thing called Bitcoin. I was like, oh, okay. And then when I did research, I realized of blockchain with Bitcoin. So now I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. And so I was hooked ever since. That was 2013. Mm-hmm. So I was lucky in a long time studying this thing. 2013. I'm like an OG in the game now. So yeah. Fast forward a little bit. I'm trying my. Hopefully, I ain't treat you like you're 15. And I'm trying to.
No, you good. I'm following. I'm following you. I'm following you.
I'm trying to get this thing together. So now you can apply that same technology, this and that. You could use it for any industry, whether you sell comic books or whether you sell cranberry juice or brushes, right? Whatever you use blockchain, you're gonna have the same benefits. So people that were smart people, they use that same technology because there's something called open source, and it basically took the power away from having that one centralized person and say, I approve or I disapprove. And they say, we all agree with this protocol. And because we the people are the people, everybody adopts it, right? And that's what gives it value. That you can take right now, you can go to the blockchain Bitcoin core and download it and validate transactions. Or you can take the code and fork the code and put a change in it and make your own that has the same benefits, just like how you have children, have a child. They're going to basically be Javon Stokes, no matter what they do, right? Whether it's a boy or girl, they're going to have their genes. They're gonna inherit the same hardworking qualities as you. So in the same way, they use that and apply it anywhere. So people apply it in art. I applied it in music. So I got this name Satoshi in music because nobody had tokenized a full song and video and until I right. So I feel like in the all right, let me not sidetrack, but so yeah, because I was sidetracked. So
that's all right.
In the sense of like see, proved that it works, but it was under the radar, which was a good thing. And he was like, "Oh, that's another one of those digital currencies we don't have nothing worried about, right?" Thankfully, because 14 years later, everybody wants a cryptocurrency now, right? Because the network became strong from all of these users, small people from all around the world, no matter if you ban. So how that applies to me now is because I had to deal with the middlemen. I had to deal with some DJ that used to be an artist that you want to decide like, do I like him or not? That depends on whether or not I'm going to play it. If I like him, I want him to treat me whatever. I heard that a girl that I likes him and his whole crew. So they're not going to tell me that, but they're right. So they're the middlemen. So we have to basically, we're not ass kissers. We're going to be like, look, our music hot, play it. Like, you know what I mean? If like it, tell us what to do. So shout out to D-Buck, because when I gave him Come Back to Stay, which I get hit about every day, and I get royalties on that every day, he told me he's like, yo, this is a hot record. But he gave it back. He said, yo, take the bass out. It's too much bass. So thankfully, I know how to engineer thanks to my man Chase Beats. I went and I just took the bass out. I ain't had to go EQ'd that thing. Thankfully, I don't need to go pay. Yeah. I EQ'd the all of the Paper Boys albums. I mixed them all. So I took the bass out. He's like, perfect history, right? So there's a thing called politics, right? But it's hard work ethics, discipline. So I know I sidetrack a little bit, but
no, you good. You good. I understand. I understand what you're saying from a general point of view.
Because that's what I like. I like it from the general point of view, so you can better understand the newest, latest thing, right? And you won't be confused. I like to understand the car for what it is and open the engine and say, okay, that's, you know what I mean? That's the air pump, that's the engine, that's the oil.
Right.
But I don't necessarily need to know everything on it. So any new part, if I've never seen it before, I just want to be able to, oh, that's the air pump, oh, that's the engine. And then that's it. The name might be different. Be like, oh, this is a catalytic. And I look at it, oh no, that's the engine, bro. I'll be like, oh, this is an air pump. No, that's an air pump, bro. Oh, this is a magic case of a glass of cranberry juice, bro. That's just a filter, right? So that you get confused, and then the consumer, all they want to do is know what the key is, know what the ignition is, and press it and press go. Right?
Okay.
So they apply blockchain to cryptocurrency, so that way you can do that same attributes I told you about. So that's why Bitcoin exists and all of these things. They apply it to NFTs with art, right? So that's why now you can take a JPEG or a JPEG and attributes, and now the art industry is blowing up because you actually have ownership of a JPEG. Even with your comic books, them things is prime for NFTs. You can have.
I want to get there. I want to get there. Before I ask that question, because that's a loaded question, and I know we probably gonna get into it. I want to give Jamari an opportunity because I know, I don't want to dominate. Go ahead, Jamari.
So what I'm assuming, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming you use the blockchain for establishing ownership of your music?
Ownership of music and ownership period.
So what do you specifically use it for with your work?
So with my works, it's definitely ownership. Intellectual property is another form of intellectual property because you can establish a date, a timestamp. Create a work of art and then you tokenize it, aka put it on the blockchain, or sometimes they say mint it. If somebody, let's say you created a logo design, right? And then you minted it and put it on, let's say, OpenSea, and created an NFT of that. If some big entity comes and says and literally copies your idea, you can go to that blockchain and this is my ideal timestamp versus where somebody is they don't have that proof now. So it's another form of intellectual property.
So, and this is where I'm gonna get into it because I feel like Jamari is gonna ask the same question I'm about to ask. Because I'm not a believer in the NFT. I've had a lot of people. I've had a lot of people come up to me, specifically at Comic Cons, and they're like, "Oh, you got to get into NFT. You got to get into NFT." And I'm like, "Sure, whatever." And I blow them off because I understand what they're doing, but I also feel like it's a fad that the value is going to be negligible at some point. And because I've seen this before, like I've been in the art industry long enough to see fads that, oh man, this is the new thing, and then it's the new thing for like 10 minutes. So how would you convince me to give NFTs my time?
Well, first of all, it depends on what types of fads, because a fad based on a transformative technology might not necessarily be a fad, right? So, and anything art, for example, you get to claim not just ownership, but provenance. So provenance in art, like just art is like yeah, you get to show.
This provenance is in regular art. Like there's a provenance in the regular art, like tangible art.
Tangible art, but the digital art is the same thing now because of blockchain. You can't really provide that without the blockchain because you can just copy and paste or right hand click or double click, right? But even if you do that in a blockchain based art, you still have to you got to check the what they call it like the blockchain explorer or Ethereum Etherscan, and the world can prove who actually created and minted that original work. So nobody can actually say that they made your work of art. It's provable.
Yeah, but if I can show you, but if I can, if and this is the question I always ask people who are all about NFTs. If let's say I got this thing right here, I got my T'Challa poster. Everybody has seen this. People have bought this. You can buy it at Comic Cons. I got to do some marketing.
You drew that, bro?
Yeah, that's me.
Crazy, bro. Hold that up one more time. Let me see.
But if somebody, this is what I say. So if this is me, I did this, right?
That's crazy,
like I did this.
Right.
So what's the difference between if somebody wants to say, nah, I did this. If somebody wants to say they came and said I did this, and I go, here's the Photoshop file showing the work. So you know what I'm saying? Like the provenance,
makes sense.
The provenance to me of having the code or what is it called?
It's a stamp of some. It's a stamp,
the
right?
Stamp. Yeah. The what is it called? It's not the time. It's a coin. What is it?
Oh, that's the that's a different. That's a cryptocurrency.
No. I'm thinking there's something that it's called that you get like when you purchase an NFT. Like if I purchase an NFT from an art, like if like I said, if I put this piece of work up and somebody wants to buy the NFT, I give them something. What is it that I give them? I can't remember.
Well, first of all, in order to buy any NFT, you can buy it with crypto, right? So you give them, they have, and it's stored on a wallet, right? So I don't know if it's a wallet you're talking about. But
no, there's just something I forget what it's called.
yeah,
But
I'm not
anyway,
sure
but
what
I
it
give
is.
them
Token?
I give them the rights,
Token?
basically. Maybe that's it. But I give
Oh,
them the
okay.
rights to the work. So they
Yeah.
own the work now, right? To
Yep.
me, I don't see a difference between doing that and just doing a trademark
So that's
or
a
a
good point.
contract.
No. So this is actually what people don't really understand as much. But trademarks is really key in terms of intellectual
Right.
property. Trademarks still rule supreme when it comes to protection of that
Right.
intellectual property. And I think United States moved from not first to use, but first to file.
Right.
That
Yeah.
might I think that might be for patents, but with United
No,
States,
patents. I think that's patents.
yeah, it is
Because I
patents.
know for me,
Yeah,
I can like if I put like me putting out the book Heat, like even without a trademark, like it's my right, like because I
copyright.
put it out, right? It's basically like a poor man's copyright. Like
Right,
I
Yeah.
put it out and I
Okay.
sold it. So if anybody tries to go, hey, now I'm gonna make a comic book called Heat, then I could be like, no, because I've been putting it, you know what I'm saying? Like even without the copyright. So yeah, it's like first of all, but for patents is different though. So
Yeah.
you're right about that.
By the way,
It
check
is,
out my new comic called Heat coming out this September.
so that T'Challa, first of all, you own that derivative of that
Right.
character that already existed, right?
Yeah.
No,
So
I don't own anything. Well, you mean
T'Challa.
the
Yeah.
drawing?
yes,
So the
you
drawing,
created that,
technically, I own the work, but I don't
the
own the
derivative.
property.
Character.
The
Yeah,
property that is taken. Yeah,
right. Because that's T'Challa, right?
right. It's the show. It's
Right.
Marvel.
But if you drew that in your room, right? Until you publish it, nobody knows.
Yeah,
They can't steal what they don't have.
right. Mm-hmm.
But the moment you put it out for the world before blockchain, once it's out there, everybody can copy paste and they can say it's theirs, right?
But until they try to, but I understand what you're saying. Once you put it out there, like somebody can come and copy paste and say that they made it. I mean, it
Right.
happens all the time.
All
Like,
the time.
you know,
Right.
it happens all the time. But
Right.
if say if I see this person, like if I go online and I see somebody selling it as a t-shirt, then I can be like, nope, here's the original file, here's that's why for me,
By the
NFTs.
way, so the Adobe file, they're actually doing something where they're incorporating NFTs well, I know they
Really?
talked about it, where they incorporate NFTs in Adobe file, so that way when you can prove that the creator actually created the file and not just copied it. So
Interesting.
yeah, when they talk about adoption, these are some of those other ancillary attributes that help bring value to the entire equation. So that's one thing. But I like your fundamental question because it's important. And really it comes down to the timestamp, right? And in conjunction with your intellectual property. So whether that's copyrights if you do a poor man to me, it was like you mail it to yourself and don't open it.
Yeah, you just mail it to yourself.
So that's definitely the poor man. But they have new things now where you can actually put it in, trademark it for free. They give you a registration or whatever. But that's just copyrights. Trademarks now allows you to go and enforce from a federal perspective. All of it is federal. And so when you buy a trademark for, it really costs $250, but you might pay a lawyer $1,000 plus the $250. But once you own that trademark, even a .com you can go and enforce that. So that's the power of having those trademarks. And if you notice well, maybe not, but OpenSea is a marketplace where they buy and sell NFTs, and the ease and access to just copy and steal and just post it and mint, you definitely can't stop that, right? Because once it's out there, somebody can copy and paste it and that's it. So credibility is important, right? Definitely.
Right.
So it's not like a one size fit all. It's a combination of different factors to allow your credibility to say, okay, this is Javon Stokes. You know what I mean? This is his work, and this is the original file. So, but you can't enforce it. Enforce it is what allows record labels, for example, to go to OpenSea, who is a centralized entity, and say, hey, OpenSea, you have these fraudulent copies of Heat, and you have to cease and desist, or else we're gonna sue your ass, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the trademarks and stuff comes in. So you got to really look at it from a suite of services for the IP side of it before you really see value. But I do agree with your original premise that it's a lot of gas in the NFT market, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of
that's what kind of pushes me away from it.
Yeah, rightfully
Because
so.
there's a lot of people who are, they'll buy like the craziest looking NFT for X amount of money.
So
and they're like, the value of it drops immediately because
pump and dump scams and things
right.
like that.
No one
Exactly.
like you valued it at that, and then you go find that nobody else values it at the same.
Let's back up a little bit. So NFT stands for non-fungible token, right? And so all that is a receipt.
Right.
So we're talking about NFTs as it applies to art.
Right.
What about NFTs as it applies to assets, right? So if somebody comes to your house right now and tells you, get out of my house and give me the keys. If you don't shoot them, you're going to call the cops, right? But what if the government comes and say that? You know what you got to have to show them? Your title.
Yeah, right.
Right? That's a receipt.
That's fine. I understand that.
Yeah, all it is that. Yeah, I know you get that, but really that's where, so you got to really apply the NFT side of things to where you got to prove the ownership with something that's acceptable, almost like a currency. Like with cryptocurrency, everybody accept dollars and yens and francs or whatever, right? With a house, everybody in a car, everybody accept titles that has the government stamp, right? So what is the common accepted medium to say you own what you own, and you're the originator of what you originate? And then that's where you got to kind of find the value and fit it around that. So with comic books, it's all IP. That's art, right?
Right.
So you're not going to ask for a title. You're going to ask for your copyright and your trademark.
Right.
And your patent, if it's a patent accessible. Right. You're not going to tell them nothing about your trade secret. And then you can build what they call utility on top of it. Just a regular JPEG of a picture is valuable only if you're Michael Jackson. Shout out to Michael Jackson, right? But when you say, okay, if you buy this comic book, you'll get a autographed version from yours truly, Javon O. Stokes, and you'll get a meet and greet. You get a live Zoom call for 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You'll get X, Y, and Z. Now, and then this is the true copy because you have your list of provenance. They see people that know blockchain. They know that, okay, he minted this. This is his.
Mm-hmm.
He got permission, right? He got permission from T'Challa, whoever owns the rights to the I forgot my man's name, right? You able to get
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman, right? And well, the people that own that whole Black Panther series.
That would be Disney.
That'd be Disney.
Exactly. Right. So your version of it, or your derivative, which they didn't draw, you drew that, right?
Right.
And then everything else you add on it, instead of you saying, okay, buy my comic book for $50, let's say, because I like to put high money on value or whatever. You can.
I wish I could.
Yeah. Whatever it is, like
$50 comic book.
So all right. So what a common comic? What is the average price for a comic book? Market rate.
Like $5.
I was gonna say $5. I should have said $5. So instead of you charging $5 per unit, you might charge $50 per unit, right? For a limited version of those units, maybe $500 for another more limited version, and maybe $5,000 for literally one to a few version, but have different additives on top of that. The other side about NFTs is that those people who own that copy of it, you can give them rights to reproduce it, maybe limited reproduce, like allow them to put it on the shirt and sell the shirt, and you don't take nothing. So you get to direct your intellectual property of it based on the different price points, right? And then when they resell that token, non-fungible token, you can have in that smart contract a certain percentage of it. So when it ever sells for a Salvatore Mundi price, $500 million, you're getting your 5 to 25% of that transaction one day when you wake up with your wife on the beach somewhere. You be like, "Look, babe, I just got
just made a couple $1 million. Okay, that
$25
makes sense.
million from
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? So from that perspective is how you gotta start looking at it so you can start valuing it. Because really, I don't feel like there's any one way to understand it except for how I first described it, just the base layer.
No, that makes 100% sense. I mean, whether I agree with it or not on whatever level, because I mean, I don't disagree with the concept of anything you just said. That makes sense. So I mean, you're the first person that I've had this conversation with that put it in a way
so
that I'm like, okay, all right, I can see that. I can see the value in doing it that way.
Sure. You gotta build your own value based on your specialty and based on just if you take away because I feel like sometimes people get caught up with the fact that this is new technology and it's like Inspector Gadget and all that stuff, and just bring it back to the basics about adding value to people, providing value, whether it's a product or service to a person, place, or thing, and say, here, like if without it, you'll say, okay, you might go there and you might be selling, hey, if you buy this comic book, you'll get a T-shirt with it. Right? Or if you buy this T-shirt for $50, you'll get comic book with it. It's that same thing, but you can now do it digitally. So think about packaging value, but now you have a way where it's provable. Like you can't fake. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I sold NFTs. You know what I'm saying? I sold 5,000 worth of NFTs, right? So I can't be like, yo, I sold a 5 million, right? Because people that know can go and be like, well, this dude is a joke. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard to sell NFTs. It's really hard to sell them. So because I'm in the game, especially as a musician, I got a value on my head. I don't want to say price on my head. I got a value on my head that's provable. Like, okay, I actually sold NFTs. I sold the first song and video for half of ETH. That's $1,000 for one song that normally costs 99 cents, right? Or a video for $199, right? And I put way more multiple of value on it. So I don't need to necessarily sell 1 million copies. I'd rather sell 100 to 1,000 copies and still be rich, right?
Right.
So it takes the burden of having to be a slave, because art had so much value back in the days, right? Because you know what I'm saying, the different Cubism era and all that. Because I like to study the actual art as well. So Picasso, the Ninja Turtles, right? Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, right? Yeah, of course. But they were getting patronized for their art, not paid. So when the king or queen said, Michelangelo, I want you to draw David, right? He could take 2 years to draw that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He getting paid 10 million.
Right.
And he getting half of that up front.
Right.
He chilling. But somewhere between then and now, they devalued it so much to where you gotta slave for that for way less value. You know what I mean? So I think blockchain takes, again, the middleman and all that. It democratizes value in a way where now you can build your own value, and you're not necessarily having to sign your life away and all of that type of stuff.
Okay, I appreciate the way you put that. This has been very, very, very informational. Before I got a big question, but before I go, Jamari, you have anything follow up or anything?
So I guess commentary wise, I'd look at it as I believe in the technology. I don't believe in its current use yet. I don't think that the world has figured out the best use of the technology. And
I actually like that.
I don't necessarily know if the current way that it's being used as a form of ownership is as sound as some people want it to be. I love the idea of it being used to help artists being able to sell and have more agency over their work.
Absolutely.
But I don't, because you've had, like we've talked about, there's been too many people who have taken advantage of it. And I think that they have taken the air out of what it could have been.
Yeah.
Right.
Like initially you had those artists who were making money off of it and they were able to sell their stuff like that. And you still have some people who are able to take their stuff and they can turn it into an NFT and they can sell it if they're the direct sellers. I think that I've seen people do that. But some of the other stuff I think is kind of killed it. When people were trying to put it into video games, I didn't like seeing that direction where it was going.
Right.
But like I'm listening to you has been, I've been like, okay, let me see what he's saying. And I see where you're going with it. As I said, I just still don't know if I were an artist right now, I would be as jazzed about it. I'd still want to see where people are going. Like I see potential. I just don't. I want to see somebody take it to where it can do its best good.
So I'm right there with you, Jamari. I'm right there with you. Like I feel like the same. I feel the same way though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. But let me jump on what you said right there to say that this is an opportunity for you to create it because it's not yet there, right? So you don't really want to wait until somebody did it. You have to see, okay, there's some value there. Where do I actually see the value? And let me start with that Lego, right? Let me start. With the Lego, you had that foundation, that flat piece, that's big square. Let me find that as it relates to my industry, and then build from there. And then actually, you could be one of the, because this is still pretty new. When you look at the I forget the name of that. There's this adoption model or whatever the case is. I wish I had it with me. We're very early. This is only like 14 years. This year is 14 years since the technology was born. The internet took between 10 to 12 to 14 years before, it went through the whole tech internet bubble, right?
It went through two bubbles. It went through two.
It went through, yes, exactly. Yes, that's right. It went through like two bubbles. So we still are at an early point where you can feel like, you know what? When you because chemistry, you need two substances to create the reaction. You need two. You need to put them together before that new thing is created. So I think because of all of the gas that's definitely in there, all the people, the money people, the hedge funds that got the millions to throw at it and put a monkey on it and say we're the ape, ape world, and then sell it for $3 million or $150,000. That's what really throws us all off, because in reality, it's like, why are you paying $70 million for a JPEG, really? Right? That's going to just be worth $70,000. You lost all your money, right? So,
yeah, I think there's a, and this is where I vibe with you on it. The way you explained it about, okay, you can sell the comic book plus some added things. It's almost like a Kickstarter.
That's what I was thinking.
It's almost like
an accessory or
right.
A tier.
Yeah, it's almost like a tier. Like, okay, I'm gonna sell you my comic, but then I'm gonna give you this and then this and this and this, and then you can do X with the you could. I think there's a level of creativity involved in what you can do with the NFT that probably we haven't even scratched the surface of yet. So like I get what you're saying, Mike, about don't wait. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like I understand, but I also understand what Jamari's saying about how like I don't like there's a certain risk and there is risk involved with like anything. So like I understand not wanting to take that risk just yet because you still want to see some of that creativity like breached just a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like let me see the what's the word? The potential show just a little bit, and then I can go, oh, okay, all right, I see you. Like that's how I feel from what you just said. Like I can the way you just said it, I can see the potential there. I need to do a little bit more research and understanding for me, which is where I'm with Jamari. Like I need to do a little bit more research and understanding. But you cracked open the potential there that is separate from the, like you said, the gas and
there's gas in there.
The crate. Yeah, like
you have to acknowledge that.
Yeah, like I'm ignoring the gas and I'm looking at okay, the way you put it. It's almost like the same way I understood the potential of Kickstarter.
Right,
once I understood it, then I was like, okay, this is how I can use it for that. And so now I'm looking at that based off what you said, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can see the potential there. So
I think as in a situation like this, instead of looking at it as the immediate way to capitalize and instantly get money on this, jump in now, like it has been shown. I think in the hands of someone like Javon, who he's got his own property right now, he's got heat, he's got strong. And if he's throwing this out as part of a collection where it's less about, I need you to buy this at $2,000 right now.
Right.
Instead, it becomes more of a collector's thing.
Right.
Collector's thing. Right.
And then stay with me. Just like you said, you can put this.
I appreciate you guys making me money right now. Like I just want to say that. Like you continue.
I mean,
I'm over here like, keep talking.
No,
keep talking.
But so, like you presented, if he has this as part of a Kickstarter, and that NFT goes out, he only puts out 25 of these NFTs, and it becomes that heat jumps off even higher than where it is.
Yep.
Those 25 NFTs go up, and he has put in something in that when people start to trade and collect these, and it starts to trade out there for money, then he does get a cut. And I think that's where it's going to be a better value. The problem now is that you have too many people who have no interest in the art side of it for someone like him, and they're only about what's the quick way to get rich quick scheme out of this? What's the quickest way I can get money off of this right now?
Yeah, but I'm not worried about them.
You don't want to market to them people, right? Because when you think about collectors, that's a key word. I actually don't consider what I do now in the block. Since I put out the song Crypto, the name, by the way, of the song that I sold was called Crypto, right? I don't market that I have singles and albums. I have collections. So the original collections to me is baseball cards and comic books.
Correct.
So I feel like those are the two industries that are so untapped. But as long as because then marketing also.
I disagree that they're untapped. I think that they've had speculator booms and busts already.
Correct.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so for at least for comic books, me stepping into the NFT market.
Wait. As it relates to blockchain?
Well, what I'm saying is there's been not blockchain. I'm saying comic
I was
books.
talking about blockchain, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is as an industry, they had a boomer bust speculator market.
Right.
Like literally it bottomed out. Like there were people out there buying copies of Spawn thinking that they're going to put their kids through college. And and now they got it's worth like $10. Like no joke. Like it's not worth as much. So for my industry, and I'm only speaking for my industry because you brought up comic books and cards. Cards are the same way.
Right.
The card industry is not as glamorous as it used to be. Because the value is not exactly where it used to be. And so I know there's a lot of hesitance in the comic book industry to start dealing with NFTs.
Absolutely.
Like there's a ton. Because we've been through this before. Like everybody, it's almost what's the word of it's almost like we've been there before. We don't want to dive back into that.
Before.
If
right. That's what I'm saying. Like I've been there with the fads and everything like that. So that's why for me, the way you put it is there's potential there.
Yeah.
But for me, to market that, I would have to fight through the stigma.
Nice.
And there's a stigma around NFTs right now.
Because
of the gas that you just talked about.
The best way to get it out there is it has to be an added value situation. Because
added value is
it's not. It cannot be the feature, which that has been the problem. Is that it was presented as it's changing everything right now as the feature.
Yeah,
and because so many people jumped in that quick time frame,
with money,
and just like Javon said, the stigma now is so bad that you can't like if he were to openly start saying, if he started advertising
NFT,
that he's going to be selling NFTs of heat scans, he's probably going to catch some hell from people online.
I wouldn't catch hell. I would catch ambivalence.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Which is worse than hell.
Well,
because no one would care.
Well, I think
I'm just being real. Like, if people are angry, people care. Like, if people don't care, if people are like, all right, bro.
So here's the thing: there's an element of any product and any service that has to have a good marketing strategy.
Yep.
So
you're right.
In a new market like NFTs and blockchain crypto, unless that's literally your sole business model, you don't really want to just jump in and be, because that's almost like changing your identity. Like when like every business now should have a .com or something, right?
Right.
But if you take that away, you still sell your flowers and candy or your
cranberry
juice, right?
Cranberry juice.
It's just the .com after it that means, okay, you embracing this technology. But when you go to that .com, it shouldn't be all about, oh, this is a internet bit. Like, it should be, I sell cranberry juice, like how you would be in the real world. I sell cranberry juice, and if you buy this cranberry juice, you're gonna get this collector's glass that you can only find X, Y, and Z, and you get some free cranberries with it. So the value should never leave. It should always be first and foremost when you're selling anything, and then just have that in the part of your bucket, like oh, for those small segment of people who know NFTs and see oh, you're in the NFTs. Oh, we have, if you X, Y, and Z, then you may have a certain NFT. We have this particular value add-on for that. As a matter of fact, for you person, we have this, which we don't even offer for anyone. If you buy this for this price point, you get this, right? And they're gonna get it, so you don't really have to sell it, right? And then you also want, if you're gonna bring that business, incorporate that business model into your offering, you need, because it's so early, you need some sense of educating people, just for those who know it and those who may know it as well, because it's definitely valuable there. But the other thing is, it's like how we said 25 copies. You don't want to go and say, oh, it's 10,000 copies of this, right?
Yeah,
you really want to keep them limited and scarce, because scarce is what drives value. That's the reason why we have a dollar problem right now. They made about 20 to 25% of all the dollars in existence came through the last 2 years since the pandemic. So it's not so much value is going up, it's because inflation's going up. So now you gotta spend over that you normally, and it's not catching up to your annual. So that part of it helps you just understand scarcity, right? For the NFT model, you only have this amount, but you want to sell 10,000 copies of the $5 or whatever. Yeah. But if you in the NFT world, you only have 50, right? Like so you're 50, not really, you don't have, you know what I mean? So it's a whole suite of how to look at it. But man, I'm glad I got you to even like.
No, man, you did. You opened my eyes a little bit. You opened my eyes. I give you credit for that because I'm still kind of like not yet, but I can see the potential. For sure. We can talk about NFTs all night. There's two things we got left. So
we kind of went on a tangent there.
I know you want to do this.
Good. Good.
No, we enjoyed it. Yes. Yeah. Like this is what we do. But I want to give you an opportunity to answer this question before we get into the top 5. I know how much your dad meant to you. I was there. Woo. I was there for your funeral. I was there. Trust me. You know, I lost both my parents, so I know how much that can affect you. But in your bio, you mentioned that the passing of your father amplified your passion for arts and business.
Right.
Can you want to talk about that? Like, explain that?
Yeah. So to be honest with you, we still actually got to talk about blockchain. So my primary value of blockchain was the ability to preserve data, right? Which basically, to me, when it comes to my father, is legacy. So when my father passed away in 2016, I was just thrown into the lion's den. I had to fly 5,000 miles to Ivory Coast, West Africa, right? And get swamped with a bunch of information. Like,
wow.
And they had to tell me, okay, this is how everything is. And I'm like, and they be like, and believe us. I'm like, okay. But let me see the receipt.
Right.
Let me see the NFT that this happened on this date. Let me see the NFT that this. What do you mean my father said and did this? He didn't tell us that. We just had a conversation a week before he died. He said, this is what happened. What do you mean? Just because you're this big official state representative that this is what my father, let me see the receipt. And then nobody want to send no receipts, right? And then now I'm ushered into trying to make these decisions, right? Because I inherited the company, I had to make decisions that affect my mother, my Jamaican mother, who had 10 strokes, right? From a lot of stress. And yes, 10 strokes since 2016 from a lot of stress, right? And so I need to actually know value for real. And the value in that context is the data. Sorry who I offend, and I don't really care, but I want to see the receipts. And if I don't see the receipts, it's not true. You know what I mean? So since 2016 to now, anything that I did and accomplished, I made sure, hold on, you make sure my battery don't die on you.
Don't die. Don't pass out. We still gotta get to that top 5.
Yeah, we good now. I'm plugged in. So I gotta make sure everything is legit. So I implemented a blockchain call. That's where blockchain rules came from. Because in my father's company, before a Michael Saylor, right? That was in 2019. I incorporated in the Articles of Association, Blockchain Information and Communication Management Initiative. That's a long word, right? So all of that means is nobody can go and sign any documents or release any documents without my written approval, not verbal approval. So they can be like, oh, I thought you said this. No. Where is the signature? Let me use my Michael Jackson. Signature, date, stamp. Where is those 3 that says that I did what you said I did? Where's those 3 things to say that I gave you permission? Without that, that means I didn't give you permission. And within the context of the law in the third world country jurisdiction, I have to make sure that things are in order so that they don't come back and sue me. Because now I'm used to getting sued by random people. You know what I mean? So that's how blockchain originally had value to me, because I used it within the context of data. So that's hopefully answer that question.
No, you good. I know how much he meant to you, and I'm glad that he inspired you. After his passing, I was inspired you within your entrepreneurship.
So the other thing is, when my father passed away in that year 2016, I was basically going to release the song Crypto, but it was going to be titled something else in that year. So I was basically, after going back to school, graduating, got married and did the whole family thing, I was going to basically, quote unquote, make a comeback in 2016. Of course, fate will have it, my father passed away, so I had to go and learn business, right? Yeah. So what I use NFTs for now is to tell my story, but mainly the story of legacy and what I had to do 6 years and what I'm still doing for the last 6 years, battling basically the state and certain individuals in the state company that I'm in business and contract with, I should say, and using NFTs as a medium to tell my story and raise awareness. So if you ever see me promote, I don't really promote it like that. The politics collection, it's really a legacy item and also raising awareness. So it's not like a typical like a paper boys or most. It's more actual information about what I'm dealing with in a way that allows me to still be a musician because I have my passion is music. You know what I'm saying? Not oil and gas. But I also had to learn business, which helped me run the oil and gas business on the highest possible level. So, when you talk about legacy, I think about the Bible, Proverbs 13:22. Hopefully it's right. But a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And the wealth of the righteous shall be stored, and the wealth of the wicked shall be stored up for the righteous. So that's the theme verse for what I had to deal with.
I hear you, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. All right, man. We don't want to hold you too long, so we're gonna get into this top 5. All right.
I tried. First of all, for the record, I tried to get a little insight on this top 5.
He tried, Jamari. He tried. Everybody try and ask, man. So listen, for those people who is your first time watching,
man,
at the end of every show, in honor of my other podcast, we do a list of top 5. We do a list of top 5 of a certain topic in no particular order. In my other show, we argue. In this show, we talk. So we don't get too hard.
No one's gonna roast you.
Nah, no roasting. We don't get. Listen, we've had a couple of top 5s where I almost couldn't help myself, but it don't happen that often.
Let's go, man. Throw it at me.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Should be all right.
All right, y'all ready? I had to do this one. Top 5 best male R&B singers in your lifetime.
Oh, man. All right. Damn, I hope I can fill 5, man. Shout out to Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
Singers. Now, singers.
Nope.
Yeah, but Michael Jackson is singer, but...
All right. Hey, listen, I'm just saying singers.
All right.
Or should I say singers?
All right, so then I'm going to go with Joe. Joe, my man. Right. I'm gonna go with so we got Joe, and I'm gonna go with Dino from H-Town.
Wow.
Yeah,
wasn't expecting
Dino.
That one.
Yeah, Dino from H-Town.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Kels, man. 3 Kels. You know what I'm saying? But that's more on the songwriting tip. That's more on the songwriting tip. But Kels, I remember when I was listening to 12 play, man. It's Kels. I'm sorry. I gotta say Kel. I'm gonna go with Usher. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, right, I like because I gotta go with what inspired me.
Okay. You got one more.
And I'm trying to think of the last one for the singers who really in R&B at that. Man, can I go with somebody in the new? Man, that's tough. So
I can think of like 10 you ain't even cracked yet. But
I know you probably saying I'm like, I forgot. But and if I go older school too, because I still got to do my old school research.
That's an in your lifetime.
Stevie Wonder.
Okay, Stevie. All right, that's 5. Jamar, you got your 5?
I abstain.
Nah, man, come on now. Jamari, come on, man.
We ain't doing
this. Come on,
this.
Dude.
We are not doing this.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
It doesn't
I didn't
matter.
argue with him.
I'm good.
This ain't the arguing platform.
I'm good.
I didn't argue with him.
This is one of the few things I will abstain.
Why?
I'm gonna leave this to you.
Shout out to those in the chat too. Shout out to Billy and Ryan. What up?
But you ain't telling me why though. Tell me why. I just want to know why you're abstaining.
Because when it comes to music, I lean R&B is one of my. As much as I know, it's still one of the ones I don't trust myself with everything that I know.
Nobody gonna. All right, I'm gonna do my list and I'm gonna come back.
Do your list.
I'm gonna do my list and come back. All right, in no particular order. I gotta go Luther, Brian McKnight.
Definitely good one.
We did this, but we did this on top 5. Crap. Luther, Brian McKnight. I forgot my. Hey, listen. If you watch top 5 and I give a different list, I'm sorry. I can't. I had a whole week to prepare for that one, so forgive me. Luther, Brian. I might have to go Joe. I'm not gonna count Stevie because that's not really.
Brian, those are good. That's good.
I'm not gonna count Stevie because Stevie's not really in my lifetime. He was putting music out,
Bro.
but in the 80s.
We're not gonna argue. You're right.
He really had a lot of stuff. Like
he did put stuff. You know what? I guess I gotta put Stevie. I guess I gotta put Stevie. Then you're right. So Stevie, and I'm gonna go with one of my favorites. This man can sing his way out of he could sing the damn telephone book and kill it. Dave Hollister. I gotta go Dave.
Yo,
Dave Hollister.
Was good. Good though. I ain't gonna front. Dave.
I go. I can't. Nobody in the new school. Nobody in the new. I don't talk about the gentleman who shall not be named. He doesn't get in my list anymore. We don't speak about him. Listen. We all know, but I don't put him on my list anymore. All right, Jamar, you want to give it a shot?
Shout out to your top 5. I ain't mad at that top 5, bro.
Hey man, I like people who are versatile and who can sing everything. Like that's how I look at my list. Like those 5 could sing any R&B singer's songs, any of them, and kill them.
I'm not gonna. All right.
Come on, give it a shot, Jamari.
I'm not even gonna lie. I stole 2 straight up from both of them.
That's fine, man. Go
and ahead. I don't even have a 5 right now off the top of my head.
This ain't top
I have
5,
Usher.
man.
I have Luther Vandross. I can't deny, like Luther. I'm at the point now. I feel like Luther is underrated.
Oh no, he's absolutely underrated.
Massively underrated. And
people be forgetting how that man can
It's
sing.
disrespectful on the level of how the NBA disrespects Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. D'Angelo, I put on my list.
Okay.
Yo, D'Angelo, my 6th man though.
D'Angelo can sing.
I can understand.
D'Angelo, my 6th man. I ain't gonna front because
I know I'm gonna catch heat from you, Javon, but this was one of the last people that made me really want to listen to R&B, and that was John Legend.
Okay.
That was the last person when I listened to their album came out and I listened to it. I was like, this is absolute gold. That first
John to me is more like a great songwriter.
Fair. I'm not gonna get mad
like
at that.
I look at him like I look at like Neo. Like they can sing, but like they wouldn't be my first choice for like great singers, but their music is amazing. Because we talked about this on top 5. John Legend's Get Lifted is a top 5 R&B album for me. Like
just amazing.
Like, in the last 30 years is a top 5 R&B. That album got no skips. But go ahead.
All right.
What's that, 4? So you got
one more. One more.
Come on, man.
Raphael Sadiq.
Okay.
I ain't
mad at
and it's not just like his solo stuff's amazing too, but that Sons of Soul Tony album. That is a masterpiece, and it's one of those. I don't think people realize how good that album was and how much great stuff came off of it that still gets airplay to this day.
But that's how I feel. Like Sadiq is in the same, like John Legend, Neo, like great songwriters who just make amazing songs, who can sing. Like there's a singers and then there's singers. And like that's how I've always looked at it. Like
trying to stay out of this argument. But y'all making some
I'm not arguing. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you about me. Like, trust me. Like, I did this argument already with the other guys. They had like They
They
had
realized,
they had like Jamie Foxx was on one list. Like Jamie can sing. Jamie's a singer.
and
Like,
I could have easily put him.
But Jamie
why
just
your
too
eyes
funny.
bulge, man?
I could have.
Like, I'm too funny to be singing.
But he
bro.
could
like,
do like everybody. Like he could
got
sing
he
like
really
everybody
did.
else.
You right. But that
Yeah.
dude is funny. Like he started singing.
I
Like,
think
for me, like, I can't.
That's one of the things that kind of made hurts their reputation, because if you really think about it, Jamie did music for fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if he really wanted to have been that dude in music, he
was that dude in music for a little bit. That album with
he had a moment.
Blame It.
He definitely had a moment.
He had two. He
had a
did two
He had some
albums.
music.
He had two albums that were like hits.
P Dollar, we did a remake to one of Blame It on the album. We did a Blame It remix. That was one of my jokes. Like, so he was nice.
Okay.
Like
Oh yeah.
Jamie, he just funny, bro. Like it's like, you know what I'm saying? He's just too funny for me. He's just a funny cat, bro. But it's true, man. Yo, man, my live, man. My first live. Shout out to everybody on my live. But let's do the top. I'll give them shout outs later. My live kind of goes crazy.
That's it, man. We did it. We did it.
Yeah,
so
that was
that was it. That's it, man. That was it.
So for me, I need.
What you want to do another one? Okay, we can do another one.
Yeah,
I got you. No, let's go. What?
At least for the rap, because we did R&B.
You want to do top 5 rappers?
Some gospel music.
Okay, we can do it.
Okay.
We did this already. We tried this already before.
Rap.
All right. Top 5 rappers. Go ahead.
So at least this whole episode a little different.
Go ahead. We'll give you the time for this.
Yeah. So I like that, bro. So definitely Hove. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z. Definitely,
Okay.
we had an era with Hove. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Busta Rhymes. You feel me? Biggie Smalls.
Okay.
Mobb Deep.
The both of them? You got to pick
Prodigy,
one, bro.
but really it's Mobb Deep, but
you got to
Prodigy.
pick one though.
All right, so Prodigy.
All right.
Snoop.
One more. Wow. Okay. That's an interesting. That's not
Jamari, you know what I mean? It's because for me it's like I feel like art is art, but it's really about what you was inspired by, right?
Okay.
So a lot of people, for example, that love that song "Come Back to Stay," it's because it got them through actual experiences. So
okay.
I feel like it's a dope song for sure, but it's a dope song that was a soundtrack for a lot of people's lives. So they just relate to it. So that's kind of cheating. So somebody put this other record, right? And it's like they're gonna say that other record, what? But it's not, just because they earned last 93.7. So these names I named, they touch me, especially Snoop. Like, right? So I go to church and listen to Snoop do gospel now.
Hey, was it Snoop Lion?
Smoke a little too much weed, but he still loves
too
Jesus.
much. All right, Jamari, go ahead. Give me a list, man. Give me a list. We just did this. Okay.
Just no questions asked.
That's good.
Okay.
Can't be reduced to that.
Black Thought.
Okay.
That's good too.
I feel like Black Thought will run through people for fun.
Okay.
He nice.
Jay-Z.
Okay. Jay-Z.
Nobody has done what Jay-Z has done with their career.
Jay just gotta give him his spot.
Jay the GOAT, man. Like we need to stop fronting. Jay-Z is the GOAT.
People don't want to say it.
People don't want to say it.
Oh wait. By the way, mine was in no particular order. By the way, it wasn't.
No, I know. None of ours are.
Yeah,
because
Most Def, because his album changed my life.
Okay.
Nice.
This was the toughest one. I'm gonna have to go with Buster, because I'm a big believer that Buster is highly underrated.
No Big?
Damn, that's my man. You kidding me?
No Big, Jamari?
I love Big.
Okay, all right.
I ain't mad at his top 5.
I still feel like
at all.
That's not a bad top 5.
I feel like almost everybody on my list could get Big.
Yo, I ain't mad.
I'm not saying his his legacy is.
I gotta think about that. I gotta think about. I don't think Most Def can get Big.
Most Def is official. I because for me, again, I went through.
I understand why you said that.
No, I'm not saying. Listen. Most Def, if you ever watch this, understand that I am not trying to disrespect you. I am just talking about Biggie Smalls.
I know I'm gonna catch hell because I didn't have Nas.
No, you good. I mean, I'm not catching hell. I was actually shocked.
Nas my 6 man. Yo, thanks to Jamari. He be giving me my 6 man. Nas my 6 man, man.
All right,
yo, Nas
go.
The original Ether crypto. He the original Ether. He Ether Hove.
You right.
Like,
let me see. So I'm gonna go Hove. I gotta go Hove. I gotta go Big.
I'm never gonna argue.
I gotta go Andre 3000. Andre 3000. If I don't put him in this, I feel like I'm disrespecting myself. Nas.
Yo,
if I don't have Nas on my top 5,
I will never argue with that man on a list, on a top 5 list.
Illmatic.
Number 5. Number 5 is hard because it can either be one or two dudes for me. It'd either be.
You get it, man. Make it easy.
All right. So I'm gonna put Snoop.
I understand why.
Because
I understand why.
Because obviously Snoop can Snoop can rap, but just his impact on the industry, the longevity, everything. But it was really difficult because. So my 6 man, if we're gonna call it that, is Busta. Because
man, y'all no mute. Y'all artists, man. I love y'all top 5s, man.
But I'm gonna tell you who always is almost on my list. The star power on my list is testament to how close he's on my list. Ludacris.
Yeah,
there ain't many dudes that can go toe to toe with Luda. Like we just talking just battle.
Nice run. But you've been in the A though, so you kind of experienced Luda. You've been in the A.
Man. The Luda experience of his when in his prime was something we here.
You could put LL in you could put LL in your top 5.
There's people I want to put on the list, but I had to be like.
LL don't get enough.
Not putting Rakim hurt my heart.
I forgot about Rakim.
Not putting Rakim.
I can't. I wasn't put on to it. That I came in the game with Snoop. So I guys have helped the scale to you know what I'm saying. Wu-Tang. You know what I mean?
Like my first hip hop album.
Shout out to Onyx.
I take that.
You know what I'm saying?
Onyx. I had that for that Onyx album. All of that.
I'm good with my top.
I don't know who I take off my list for Rakim though. I don't know who I take off my list for Rakim.
Rakim is good, man. I respect Rakim, but he ain't make my cut.
I feel like the only person I would take off on a list would be Nas because I feel like that's your closest.
Who? Nas?
I'd take Nas off for Rakim.
The reason why I wouldn't is because while Rakim to me is a hood black culture icon. But if you go outside of the black culture, there's a lot of people who don't know who Rakim is. So I give Nas respect for piercing that bubble.
I don't even think Nas pierced it is some of these other people we got on our list, but he definitely did. He had a
Nas absolutely pierced it. He absolutely pierced it. Like he's way more mainstream than you realize.
Look,
he is way more mainstream than you give credit to. Like that man just performed at he just performed at the Grammys, dude. Like that
I can't take anything away from him because there's albums that of his still on my rotation. I am not as big a fan as most people are.
Nas, if you ever want to come on the show, holla at me. I'd love to have you on. Listen,
I would do.
All right, we gonna call it because I know this man is a father and a husband. we gonna get you back on.
We very much appreciate it. That was very educational.
Yeah, I'm gonna do an entrepreneur roundtable show. So having somebody who understands like blockchain and NFT and you literally running a company. This is my invitation to have you on. I'll let you know when we do it.
You family, man. So
I appreciate it, man.
Y'all got some good wisdom too. Y'all,
hey man, we trying, man. We trying.
Y'all not. I already know you. Shout out to my man Lindsay. You and Lindsay be going at it all the time. So y'all not yes men at all. So I feel.
Listen, man. I'm gonna have Lindsay on this show. I'm gonna have him on this show, man. I'm gonna have him on this show because he believes he has a viewpoint of entrepreneurship that I would love to actually like talk with him about. Huh? Listen, man. We've talked in person about it. We've had a conversation about this in person, but I would love to have him on. But we appreciate you coming on, man. We appreciate you dropping your knowledge.
Yo, they on my live, man. Shout out to everybody on my live. Shout out to what up, Shah Ray? What up, Nook? What up, N?
Hey, everybody on his live. Thank y'all for listening.
Matter of fact, hold on. We doing a you know what I mean? The first crypto expo. We doing that sometime in the fall.
Nice.
So we working on that. Shout out to my man Medina Ruckus out in Providence. They checked in. Shout out to the first official paper girl, Kendra. What up? Shout out to my cuz. What's up, Tanisha? Hey.
We got a whole nother people watching this whole thing. We ain't even know.
My other cuz and Monster P. And it's a few. Thank you.
That's
guys,
all right, man. We appreciate it.
We'll be back.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, tell your wife hello. Like I said, we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna have dinner. We got it. There's no reason that I've never met your wife and you've never met my wife, and we've been friends for 20,
even though
almost 25.
You're in West Hartford. That was cool. I had to keep it moving.
Yelling at me, but thank you, man. Listen. Y'all take care. We appreciate you, and definitely we're gonna have you back on. And next week, listen, everybody else, please tune in next week. I'm gonna tell you who we got in like 2 seconds. So I apologize. We got Ryan Robinson on next week. We got the super talented artist Ryan Robinson coming through next week. It should be really fun. And as always, y'all have a great weekend. And thank you for stopping by for some creative talk with creative people. And take care.
Take it easy.